From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your morning update.
Dennis's Heating and Air Conditioning is Northern California's premier heating and air conditioning contractor. From residential housing, large commercial projects, installation to repair, sheet metal fabrication, and everything in between, we are your go-to heating and air conditioning specialist.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Meteorologist Mike Krueger taking a look at a time lapse from yesterday evening. A couple of those afternoon clouds as expected in the higher elevations. And once again, we were graced with a beautiful sunset as you look over Mount Shasta from our divine sky cam here at Weather NorCal. You can see those beautiful colors coming in here as we went into the evening hours. Let's take a look at our Thursday, April 30th, Krueger's Quickcast. Quick look at your forecast for today is going to be calling for another mainly sunny day in the valley, some afternoon clouds in the mountains, and some of that fog will develop, or most likely seeing some of that patchy fog at the very least for the coast and some of those mountain and inland valleys. Otherwise, temperatures generally in the 40s for the higher elevations and even for the coast, low 50s 8 o'clock this morning for the valley. Now you can see that cold front and really kind of a series of storms over the Gulf of Alaska. Those will eventually impact us, but before that happens, high pressure is really settling in today, and that's going to be the peak of the warming trend we've been talking about. Now, as mentioned, we're seeing some of the low clouds, a little bit of fog out along the coast, afternoon clouds developing in the mountains. If you see a stray sprinkle here and there in the mountains, don't be surprised, especially over the northern Sierra and southern Cascades, but otherwise it's dry and then clearing skies again for most of Northern California tonight. The winds aren't going to be that much of a factor over the next 12 to 24 hours, generally coming in from the north, 5, 10, maybe 15 miles per hour in some spots, but nothing to be terribly alarmed about. Take a look at your forecast for today. Upper 80s. Some of us may even be flirting with that 90-degree mark for today in the valley at least. Mainly 70s for the higher elevations and low 60s for the coast. And for tonight, temperatures mid-50s on average for the valley, 30s and 40s for the mountains, and in the upper 40s to about 50 for the coast. So here's what we got with your 7-day outlook. We've been talking about the potential for late afternoon, early evening showers, possibly rolling into parts of the valley tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. But it looks like it's going to be the second half of the weekend and early next week that we got that best chance for some of that measurable rainfall and maybe even a few isolated thunderstorms. It's kind of mixed and matched as far as where you are and the timing of when everything comes in, because you'll notice Trinity County as early as tomorrow afternoon, a chance for showers and thunderstorms, and that continues through the weekend. But the coast and inland, you're going to have to wait also probably until the second half of the weekend. However, Siskiyou County and even the East Siskiyou County could see it as early as tomorrow afternoon, but Eastern Mountains late in the day. Alturas probably dry tomorrow, but then more possible thunderstorms for all of the mountains over the weekend into early next week, and maybe even lingering on into Tuesday of next week as well. So the warming trend, it peaks today. Temperatures dropping a little bit, but still fairly warm for your Friday. And we're more confident in the chances for rain on Friday for some, not everybody, with cool and unsettled pattern this weekend, and some of those shower chances continue into early next week. We'll get into all of that in our deeper dive forecast, and there certainly is going to be something to talk about here, especially as we go into tomorrow, through the weekend, and even into early next week. So let's start with that satellite image. And first and foremost, what we're dealing with right now, and I don't consider dealing with it because it's made for some gorgeous weather, is this ridge of high pressure right here. That ridge is what's giving us the mainly sunny skies, minus those afternoon clouds in the mountains. But you see the bit of an activity over the Gulf of Alaska, right? Spin here, a bit of a spin here, some action here. All of this energy is eventually going to kind of swing to the northeast and then dive down to the south, and that's what's going to be impacting us over the weekend. And the beginning phases of that, the transition to that phase on Friday could bring some areas a chance for some isolated showers and thunderstorms. So let's take a look at the long-range forecast, and there's that ridge of high pressure for today. You can see it's the dominant feature, and that's why it's warming up here. But then as we go into Friday, you see that transition. We're beginning to see this shift southward. Now, what I find interesting is about 2-3 days ago, our in-house forecast model was what I call an outlier. That is the only one indicating that Friday afternoon there may be some thunderstorms, especially in the mountains, and some of those trying to roll into the valley Friday evening. Only outliers showing that. Over the last 24 hours, the long-range forecast model has kind of come on board with that, as you can see right here. You see that? I think that's where we're going to see the best chances for showers and thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon, west of the valley, and then in the evening as they push eastward, some of those may survive that trip down the mountains and bring us a chance for a few stray showers. Now, you'll also notice the spine of the Sierra, and maybe even out towards the northern Sierra, there's that possibility for a little bit of activity. And then that area of low pressure dives down to the south. Now, the positioning of this low is really going to be key as far as who sees rain and thunderstorms and who doesn't. So you shift this a little bit more to the east, a little bit more to the west, and that can change things dramatically as far as who sees that rain or not. But over the weekend, we start to see chances for showers and thunderstorms depending on where you are, and then that all starts to shift to the east. So Monday, we're on the back side of that flow, but it's still bringing us a chance for some of those showers. And I'm expecting that by Tuesday, Wednesday, we're done with all of that, and we have another ridge of high pressure building in, and quite a warming trend actually coming in towards the middle and latter part of next week. So take a look at this. The Storm Prediction Center has this area basically valley westward for the best chance for thunderstorms. Here's where I'm thinking. Central, western Siskiyou County, Trinity County all have the best chance for that line of thunderstorms developing. And then, of course, I would say even the mountains of western Shasta, Tehama, and Glenn counties. Now, as those thunderstorms, as I mentioned, push eastward, depending on how strong they are, the stronger they are, the better the chance they survive that trip down the mountains, and we could maybe see a stray shower for places like Redding, Red Bluff, mainly west of I-5. Chances for any showers, say around Chico, Orville, are certainly going to be slimmer. So that's kind of I think, a pretty good bullseye, if you will, that the Storm Prediction Center out of Norman, Oklahoma has painted here. I'd say it's a little bit too far to the west and maybe a little bit too far to the east, and it's going to be mainly confined in this area right here, okay? That's where I'm thinking most of it's going to be here for tomorrow. But for today, well, of course, you can see the low clouds along the coast. We see the afternoon clouds developing in the mountains, maybe a stray sprinkle, a light shower down to the south here, but mainly sunny skies for the valley. That's today. Today's the peak of that warming trend. But then by Friday midday, yeah, you're beginning to see once again those afternoon clouds developing in the higher elevations. We see some of the low clouds, maybe some fog along the coast. Look at this by the afternoon. You see that? This is that area I was talking about right here. I think this is going to be the best chance. Now, the reason I'm pretty confident in this is, again, this in-house forecast model that you can only see right here at Weather NorCal was the only one that's been picking up on this activity here for the last few days. And now a lot of other forecast models are kind of picking up on that. Central western Siskiyou, there's Trinity, see there? Western Shasta, Tehama, and Glenn. Now again, you can kind of see how that's trying to spill into parts of the valley with a stray sprinkle, light shower, late afternoon, early evening. And there may even be a little bit of pop-up, a few pop-ups here east of the valley. But I think the main energy is going to be confined right here with a little bit of pockets of energy just to the east of the valley as well. Then we go into tomorrow night. That's all pretty much done with for the most part. And then again, remember I was talking about positioning. So the area of low pressure based on this particular forecast model brings most of the energy to the north and east. MODOC, so basically Southern Cascades, Northern Sierra. West of that looks dry. Coast, Trinity County Valley. And even most likely a lot of, especially central western Siskiyou County. I still think, say, central eastern Siskiyou County, mountains east of the valley, I think all of this area could see the potential for some showers, possible thunderstorms popping up. But to the west of that, most likely staying dry. Then we go into your Sunday, right? Now here we go into Sunday. There's Sunday around midday. We're starting to see some energy. And again, it's kind of wrapping around that area of low pressure as it starts to kind of shift off to the east. Now you can see a lot of the energy is now kind of pointed northward, less to the south, southwest. But I think Sunday is kind of that day overall. Everyone's going to see that chance. It may be later in the day, though, for places like the valley to maybe see some of that activity here. And then Monday, Still some of those showers. We start to see things begin to wrap themselves up around Tuesday, Wednesday. Temperature-wise, you can clearly see that big dip in the temperatures, and this is still when we see some of the coolest air move in on Monday, and that's why we still have that chance for showers as well. But look at this. We're getting back well into the 80s by the latter half of next week and into that next weekend. Wave heights have actually increased a little bit here over the last 24 hours and will pretty much stay status quo. As a result, they are high enough that the National Weather Service has issued a small craft advisory through the next few days. Winds are going to be from the northwest eventually this afternoon at about 10 to 15 knots. Here's your neighborhood forecast, sponsored by Dignity Health and Grange Co-op. Trinity County is calling for temperatures warming up, right? We're going to be in the low 80s, although as you head kind of the west, we typically see some of those cooler temperatures here. But dry today. Tomorrow, I think we can see thunderstorms. I think we'll see a break on Saturday, and then more showers and thunderstorms for Sunday, Monday, and then by Tuesday, Wednesday, we will dry things out. For the North Coast, I think you're going to be mainly dry for today all the way through Saturday. Your best chances for showers will be coming in for Sunday, Monday. We can't rule out a straight thunderstorm even for parts along the coast here. Inland also waiting until Sunday, Monday. I think Tuesday, Wednesday, you'll be looking at drier conditions. For Siskiyou County, a little bit more interesting here, especially say Mount Shasta westward may have that chance for a stray shower or thunderstorm. Tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, but say eastern Siskiyou County, I'd say you're going to be dry here for tomorrow. Modoc County, you're dry Thursday, Friday, but through the weekend and into Monday, a chance for showers, thunderstorms. Keeping that chance for showers on Tuesday, as we'll be on the back side of that system, but really Tuesday, Wednesday, there's transition to drier and warmer weather. Eastern Mountains, I'd say maybe some afternoon, evening showers and thunderstorms here. That continue off and on chance all the way through Monday, maybe even lingering into Tuesday of next week. Your Valley neighborhood forecast, look at those upper 80s. I mean, if some of us touch 90 degrees, I certainly wouldn't be surprised, but I think we're going to keep it mainly in the mid to upper 80s here for today. There's that chance for showers and maybe even some thunderstorms for Chico for Sunday, lingering shower Monday, drying out and beginning to warm up as we go through next week. 87 for Redding as well as Palo Cedro, 88 for Red Bluff. Let's take a look at that 7-day forecast for Redding. And there's that. I put PM in there. And the reason I say that is because we can't rule out some of those thunderstorms west of the valley to roll into the valley and give us a chance for a few showers. Now, I think mainly west of I-5 and mainly late afternoon, early evening when we start to see those chances move in. So for the most part, it will be dry on Friday. It's the evening that you got to look out for that potential. And even then, it probably won't be that significant. And then maybe a break on Saturday with another chance for showers, possible thunderstorms for the second half of the weekend into early next week. Well, there certainly is a lot to monitor, so be sure to keep checking in throughout the day. I'll have another update for you at around noon and then another one later this evening. Until then, have yourselves a great morning.
When you see flashing lights, someone's life depends on us.
And while we're out helping crash victims, we need your help to keep us safe. Move over, slow down. It's the law. It protects everyone.
Our crews are out here every day, keeping the roads safe for you and your family.
We're often the last ones on scene, and we want to make it home safe too.
Protect those who protect you. Slow down and move over.